Angela, welcome back to our Diversity and Inclusion Q&A initiative. And thank you again for your time. We loved hearing your story in part one. It was really inspiring, and thank you for sharing such great advice. So today, I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about your ideas on diversity, inclusion, how that looks at Trustpilot as well. And hopefully we can share some really great advice for any woman wanting to get into the technology space. Sound good?
Yes, yeah, thank you for having me here again. I'm happy to hear I didn't bore you the first time, so it's an honor.
Not a chance. It was a really, really great discussion, so thank you again. So what I'd like to do to kick things off is to understand how the current gender balance actually looks in your team at the moment. I've took the time to look on Trustpilot's website, particularly on the career page, and was really impressed because a lot of the photos available on the website are so diverse, and I think that's really important. I know for me personally, that's something that I'm drawn to if I was to look at different organizations. But in your team, how does it currently look?
Yes, actually in my team right now, I think the balance, like gender balance, it's 50-50. It's like we're right there. So yeah, I'm very happy with this balance. We're also people from different countries, different cultures, so that always helps. As you mentioned, I wouldn't work in a company where there was like only one type of people, you know, like all male, white male, or like only women. Like I wouldn't like to be all women either, or like from only one country. So I really like the diversity, and at Trustpilot we're really trying to push for that. It's the company itself, but also all the employees. We're always pushing for having the diverse environment, and yeah, I really like that.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's a team effort at the end of the day, right? We all have to work together. And as you know, as I'm sure everyone knows, diversity, it plays a key element in progressing businesses' creativity and innovativeness, and also productivity. So from your side, 50-50 split is fantastic. So many companies struggle to achieve that. What do you think you're doing differently at Trustpilot?
Well, I mean, we're very aware that there are not that many women in technology, especially. So we're always looking for ways of how to attract more women, and we're very, very conscious about that. And also promoting. We're really trying to promote women. We actually have an organization inside the company, which is called TWIL. And it means Trustpilot Women in Leadership. And the whole idea is to try and help internally all the women to try and grow in the company. So yeah, it's run by women. It's volunteering, and we're trying to help. Not all the events that we're creating, they are not only for women, but like the idea for us is to try and promote and help each other, and I think that helps. I mean, especially in Denmark, I can speak from like from Denmark. It's a small country, and it's so easy to hear how it is to work in a company, and I think the word got out that it's actually a great company to work in as a woman as well. So yeah.
That's really exciting. So the Trustpilot Women in Leadership initiative, how does that work? Do you have monthly workshops, or what's the structure of that?
Yes, actually, this initiative was started in New York by one of our employees, and then we launched it in Copenhagen as well, and after that in London, in the office in London. And yeah, we have in Copenhagen, at least, we wanted to create like a workshop or an event each month, invite everyone. And one of the events that we had, for instance, was how to do public speaking. and we invited someone from outside to have a workshop. And yeah, we plan on we launched this initiative in Denmark this year, and we had a few events already. With COVID, we kind of put a stop, and now we're like trying to think how we can do it in lockdown, and like what kind of events can we do this way. We actually have a meeting on Friday to chat about this.
Game plan for world domination.
Yeah, no, but I mean, yeah, we're trying to look what's necessary to try and promote. Another initiative besides the workshops, we had the mentorship program. So we started thinking on how we can create a mentorship program inside the company. So we had people like writing down like, do you want a mentor or do you want to mentor someone? And we had actually great responses from people. We found a lot of people that on both sides, and then we tried to match them. And now we're looking at building like a small application where people can go and have their chats and write notes and so on. So yeah, that's another initiative that we have inside this group.
That's really interesting. And like I say, it's so refreshing to hear how much that's valued and the different initiatives that you're putting into place as an organization. For any organization who doesn't have something in place, just from your own personal experiences, what would be your advice to them for setting up an internal initiative to really help boost diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, I mean, you need to start somewhere, right? So if something is not there already, just start talking to people around you and see if you have their support. And of course, also show examples of other companies, what they are doing and how they manage to improve their numbers in terms of diversity. And I know sometimes, like I heard that excuse with like, oh, we don't have that many women in technology because there are not that many applying. But that's just an excuse, I would say, because there are a lot of things that you can do. And I know there are not as many women in technology as men, but still there are many out there that are looking for jobs. And you shouldn't use that as an excuse, and just try and push. If you want to do something, just try and push that initiative in your organization, and I'm sure you'll find support from others as well. If not, then maybe change organization.
I think that ties in quite nicely to some of the advice you shared in our previous discussion. Just go for it, right? Just do it. Just throw yourself into it. What's the worst that could happen? It's really important that as organizations, we can look to embrace this. And you touched on mentorship earlier on. Do you have any mentors at the moment yourself?
No, I don't have a mentor, like a dedicated mentor. I try to learn from everyone around me. But I know when I started that, I was actually the one starting the program, the mentorship program in the organization, and looking at the people that said they want to mentor others. I was like, oh wow, all these great people! I want them as my mentors as well. So yeah, when I was looking at the list and what they wrote, I was like, yeah, I should look for a mentor as well. But I don't have one at the moment. I'm just learning from everyone around me, and yeah, I have a lot of great people around me that I can just pick a lot from.
So throughout your career, if you look back, have you encountered any like gender specific challenges or obstacles?
I would like to say no in an ideal world, but yeah, I definitely encounter difficulties, and the part that I struggled the most, and I was annoyed all the time, I would say, was the fact that the standards were always different. Like with with for men to get the promotion or to get the job, sometimes was like, oh, we see potential in this person, and it's like a leap of faith, and we know he'll get to do the job. But for women, it's like, no, you have to prove yourself, like that you do that job, maybe do the job for 2 years before you actually get the title. And that always kind of annoyed me, that it's never like a leap of faith. They don't take a leap of faith when it comes to women, but they tend to do more of that with men. And yeah, I've always been a bit annoyed about that. And then of course all the other judgments of like, oh, women shouldn't be in tech. But that was maybe 10 years ago. I think things have changed in the industry a lot over the years. So yeah, it's looking much better for sure.
How do you feel that you've overcome those mental blockers as well yourself?
Well, something that everyone says about me, I'm very ambitious. And of course I had bad days when I was thinking, okay, maybe it's not it, but I just push more. I kind of knew what I wanted, and I just went for it. And yeah, as I said earlier, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, yeah, I'll switch careers, fine, maybe I'll do it if it's really not for me, but yeah, just go for it. And yeah, and it's also the people that I have around. I always had people around, like also good people, you know, that told me positive things and try to lift me up. But it's really important to have those people around you as well, so you're not just alone, you against the world, you know.
Definitely. And it's like what we touched on again in our last discussion, but community as well, being a part of an environment where you're going to be encouraged. You're not going to get put down because of gender or where you're from. Diversity comes in many different forms, and we have to always remember that and have that in mind and at the forefront. But do you still notice a lack of women in technology?
Yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm very lucky now in the team that I am, that we're like 50-50, which I actually didn't realize before it just happened. You know, it's not something that you necessarily plan for. But yeah, it's still like, I'm looking at candidates who's applying for jobs, especially when it comes to developers. I think the numbers there are very low. We're getting more on data science, which is amazing, like more women on data science, and UX research and UX design. But yeah, very few numbers on developers, programming. So yeah, I think we can work a lot more. It got better. I mean, when I entered the workforce, were 2 women in the office of, I think, 50 men.
Wow.
So it definitely got way better. So yeah, looking back, I was always used to be in a group of all men, which is not the case anymore, and it's really great. It changed a lot.
Did you find any challenges being in a really male-dominated organization?
As I said, I kind of got used to that, because like I entered this industry, like starting high school was like mostly men, and then in college was the same, and going forward. But of course you have challenges because you're different, and it's also for the others, they don't really know how to behave around you. And you know, sometimes you hear like, oh, we have a girl around us, so we need to be nicer, or like they change how they are, or yeah, all the jokes. Yeah, so it's been difficult for sure to be the only the only woman in groups. And I've also heard like at some point I was having dinner and was like all men, and some of them were directors, and they had a joke. They all kind of looked similar, and their joke was that, oh, if you want to be a director, you need to grow a beard. And they made that joke to me, and I was like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, was really wrong. But yeah, things like this were happening before because it was all men, and I guess it wasn't necessarily their fault either. They were used like that. They were used in that environment, and they grew in that kind of environment. So I'm happy that now more people are speaking up about diversity, and everyone is trying to pay attention, because even if you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, you'll do it with these kind of jokes and remarks.
For sure. I mean, awareness and education now more than ever is so important. And I can really relate. I actually started my first ever job in recruitment and was the only woman in the organization for about a year and a half. So it was great. You know, it was okay. But I definitely understand some of the challenges that you went through. And that's why I'm really passionate about this topic as well, because I've been there. I've experienced it. Okay, not in a technology environment, but I know some of the struggles and the challenges. But why do you think it is the case that there is a lack of women in technology?
Well, I mean, it starts with the stereotype, I think, of like how someone in this industry looks like, and that doesn't necessarily attract young girls. I think it starts very early on, where like, oh, only boys who go and build things, girls will only get a Barbie doll to play with, right? Because that's what girls should like. And then yeah, as you grow up, you're like, oh, if I want to be a developer, I need to be like the stereotype that is like, oh, it's a man, he has a beard, he drinks cola, and he never showers, or something like that, you know. And it doesn't attract women. They are like, no, I actually like to put some makeup and do my hair, and it's not going to be seen as someone that is great in that industry. So yeah, I think it starts very early on with how we attract women. And that's why I like now that you see more diverse people speaking up and having amazing careers and so on, so that people that are different, they can also see themselves being there.
For sure. I think breaking the stereotypes is so important. Like if I think back to when I was at school, Ada Lovelace, for example, I wasn't really educated on her, and she was the first woman programmer, right? So I think back, and I think now more than ever, people should be celebrating these kind of role models, educating the younger generation and giving them people to look up to and aspire to, and thinking, do you know what? I can do that. I don't just need to play with my Barbie dolls. So really break those stereotypes. You're completely right on that. So your personal opinion, collectively, what more can we do you think, to appeal and attract to women in tech?
Oh, I think we can do a lot of things. But yeah, what you do right now, I think it's amazing, and it helps speaking up, getting out of your box helps. And yeah, if you made it and you have a great career, just speak about it so others can be inspired, and talk about your struggles as well and how you overcome them. And then, of course, if you have in your company, if you have women joining the company, try to support them, especially if they are young. Try to be there for them, and not let them go through the same things that you went through. And yeah, I think that helps. And also all the job advertising, the way the company speaks about, like in their articles and everything, try to make sure it's inclusive and it speaks to everyone, not just to one type of people.
Definitely. I sat in on a really interesting webinar on unconscious bias a few weeks back, and they touched on the whole job descriptions. And in some job descriptions, people say we're looking for, like, let's say, a JavaScript rock star. And if I think about myself, I'd never imagine myself as a rock star. I don't know about you. I mean, maybe a folk music rock star. It's just being conscious of the language we're using to appeal to a wider audience. And of course, I'm sure you're familiar with the saying that if a woman was to look at a job spec, typically they wouldn't apply unless they had around 100% of what is listed. So it's using objective kind of language and the value that they can bring to a business, as opposed to a shopping list of what we want and we want this now. So definitely approach to job descriptions is a huge one. What else do you think?
I mean, on the hiring part, yes, you mentioned the job description. Also at interviews, it's usually great to have another women in the room as well, like interviewing. So you make sure that the other person feels comfortable as well. I think that helps a lot. It's also, and not just when you have women, but it helps to, when you have the interviews, to have a diverse group of people that interview. So you make sure you're removing the unconscious bias from the interview process. What else? Yeah, promote on like the company's website, promote your people, like show that if you have a diverse group, show that you have a diverse group, because many people are interested in that. As both of us mentioned, we would like to join a company that has a diverse group of people. So yeah, and I think those are a few things that I would do.
There's some great ideas, and thank you for sharing. Really, really powerful stuff. What would be your advice to women trying to get into the technology space at the moment?
I mean, just be confident, and I guess don't let other people tell you that this is not for women. Don't listen to that.
Big no.
Yeah, no. And yeah, just try it out. Go to be part of communities. Now there are so many communities out there that will try to help women in technology, and yeah, reach out to other women in technology. I know they will be happy to help out and guide you through your new adventure.
Brilliant. And you mentioned Women in Tech Copenhagen previously. Are there any other organizations or communities that you could recommend that are really great for women in tech?
Yeah. So also in Denmark, we have another organization which is amazing. It's called DGPP. And what they do is try to promote technology to young girls. I think their age group is between 7 and 13. So yeah, if you are already in technology, you can volunteer to this organization and try to show young girls that technology is fun. So that's one organization that I know in Denmark. Then another one in Lithuania, it's called Women Go Tech. And I know it because the office we have in Lithuania is part of some of the women in the office. They are part of that organization, and I know they are making a lot of events as well. So if you are in that country, you can go for that as well.
Thank you so much, Angela. It's been a pleasure speaking with you again and sharing ideas on diversity and how that looks at Trustpilot as well. So thank you for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to share with regards to diversity or for anyone listening?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you as well. This was great. It's always awesome to talk about diversity, and yeah, in general, just push for diversity, because it's always much better. The environment, it's better, and the products that you build will be much better when you have a diverse group of people. So thank you again for this chat. It was fun.
The pleasure is all mine, Angela. Thank you so much, and you take care.
You too. Bye bye.